Hey James, this is Christian. Just here to tear down your 4R70W, 4R75. Not much difference between the two, just some gear ratios, things like that. So let's go ahead and get into it. I believe you said, yeah, I already know what you said. Said it quit moving on forward for you. So hopefully the drum's okay, but we'll find out here in just a few. Let's go ahead and get some of this weight off of it. It's always a heavy transmission. Of course, any of them are. So, especially moving around on the bench, I like to try to get everything out of the way as much as I can. Okay. Sorry to pause it for a second. My fan turned over and it's kind of hot in here, so I was trying to get it rearranged a little bit. Let's just knock this off. Of course, this is just your tail housing. Here's the gasket here for the tail housing. That comes in your kit. You're going to hear me say kit a lot because not a lot of people realize, I'm sure you do though, but not a lot of people realize there's a lot of things that does come in your kit. So you'll be hearing that quite a bit. Swing it around. We'll just get these bolts out. We're ready. Then we're going to go through these. Take the valve body off, pan and valve body, and see what we got. Kind of smell it a little bit. Smells burnt. Bolts for that. Always put them over there to clean. There's not much I can do with the outside cleaning it. I do wipe them down and stuff like that, but I don't have a cooker, anymore. So, but if you see over here that green tank, I do clean everything on the inside. I clean everything really good. So, really more important on the inside than the outside. But I do try to get it the outside. Your output speed sensor. Usually they're fine. There's a little black seal right in there. Hopefully it shows up because the seal or the sensor itself is black, but that comes in your kit. That gets replaced. Put this over to the side to get cleaned up. Putting everything in a basket over there. Flip her over. Drain a little bit of this fluid out. Give that a second. Or your pan boat, all those were with it. There's only one of them that had just a different head on it. No big deal. This is the inside of your pan. Looks like there's a little rubber or gasket piece there. It's actually, not a gasket, but actually it's a plastic piece right there. As far as metal wise, it looks pretty clean. It's just I get that burnt smell. So I don't know if you changed it recently or what, but I was kind of expecting to see a little bit more metal, but it's good that we don't. You got some metal. You're always going to see metal anyway, especially on the magnet a little bit. But you might have changed the fluid or something like that recently. We'll put that over to the side. Actually, we'll put it underneath the shelf here. That gets cleaned up. Sometimes the kit comes with a new magnet, sometimes it don't. If it don't, I just clean the magnet up and put it back in there. And this is your filter. Of course, you already know that. A lot of metal on the filter. A lot of ground up metal. So, of course, that'll get replaced. That's not in your kit. It's something separate. So we'll set it over to the side. I'll kind of make a little baggie for you of everything that I replace. Everything, so that way you can keep it if you want, or you just want to look at it and tell me to throw it away, whatever you want to do. But I always like to kind of keep things and let people see everything I've done, everything I've replaced. That way you're not just seeing it through a camera, you can actually look at it in person. A lot of brass on the top of here, looks like. So put that in a baggie. Of course, this is your gasket. That comes in a kit. So you'll get a new one of them. I'll set it over to the side in your bag. Well, that'll throw it away. This is something I was telling you about. That was part of your list here. This thin black wiring harness. It's mostly plastic and it's open faced. Open faced meaning there's a lot of circuits involved, little tiny circuits, and that it's exposed. The reason why we replace those, a lot of people do anyway, is because when you try to get it off as easy as you can, but still it's thin plastic, it can break, and you cannot see where the break is. So commonly anymore, or even since the beginning, I can remember putting these back on back in the day, back when they first started coming out, and they just wouldn't work. You'd get all kinds of codes and stuff until finally started replacing them and found out other builders did too, because you may pry on it and break it a little bit and not even, you can't even see it. So we just automatically replace them, throw it away. I'll set that to the side in your little baggie too. Let's get the valve body off. You didn't tell me about any codes or anything. Most of the time these solenoids here are fine, but you didn't tell me about any codes or anything like that in there. So I'm just going to clean them up real good. Usually they're just fine. I'll clean it up along with the valve body. I will be doing some updates to the valve body, what I call like updated factory updates that comes with the kits that I buy. Some bolts, set them over here for cleanup. Mostly the updates that come in the valve body or come in the kit for the valve body is like a little bit better springs for your valve, things like that that'll get replaced. Hopefully you can still hear me. Lights says it's green. I went through a video one time, didn't pay attention to the light when I first had a microphone, because it was hard for people to hear me when I was doing these a few months back when I first started doing this. So I got a microphone like the second video I did, it was totally silent. So then I had to make a video explaining to the person what all I did. You can still see the video, but it's you can't hear me talking. This is your valve body, of course. Valve body gasket. There's one underneath there. It'll get replaced. There's also a valve body gasket underneath here that'll get replaced. And these will just be thrown in your little baggie. Most of the time, these valve bodies are pretty good. They may have a sticky one here and there, but most of the time they're fine. But I do take care of the sticky ones by taking them out, sanding them, things like that. And also I'll be taking a lot of valves out anyway to change the springs anyway, so it ain't no big deal. Alrighty. Get my scribe here. One of your accumulators. Spring's fine, the cap's fine. It's just a floating cap. What helps it stay in place is the valve body. So those are usually fine. Let's check your piston. It's a molded piston most of the time. They're usually fine too. I'm a pretty big fan of most molded pistons in the transmission, so it seems like they last a lot longer. You really don't have a lot of problems out of them. They do get hard on occasion, and then you have to replace them then. But that's when it's really overheat. And that's just fine. These are always just fine. We'll get that cleaned up. This is your other accumulator. Most of the time it's got one spring at the bottom, one spring at the top, two in the bottom. Sometimes there's one spring in the bottom. So we'll see what this one's got. And it's a molded piston too. So most of the time it's fine. The cap itself that I'm getting ready to get out is in the kit. That'll get replaced. Most of the time the caps are just fine, but if it's in the kit, I always just replace it and put another one in it anyway. So as always, they always want to pop out on you. There's the spring that's on the top. This is the cap that'll get replaced. And I just throw this away and put the other one in it. Here's the piston. And this one's got the one piston the one spring in the bottom. Piston's fine. They always are most of the time. We'll set it aside to get it cleaned up. This here is for your overdrive band servo. And this is your servo for your reverse. This, clean it up here so I don't get too much fluid in the face. I always kind of get a money shot sometimes. But this snap ring in here usually breaks sometimes. Actually, a lot of the time it don't break, but it comes in your kit. It's a little bit thicker snap ring, which is an update. And so that snap ring, once you get out, I'll show it to you. That will get replaced with an updated, thicker snap ring. But when they do break, sometimes they're a pain in the butt to get out. Not that they're easy anyway. It's a pretty tough spring behind it. Just got to get a hold of it. Kind of pull up on it a little bit and then just work it out the rest of the way. And this is the snap ring I'm telling you about. Set that aside in your baggie because that comes in new in the kit. It's a lot thicker snap ring, so set that down, replace it with a new snap ring. These are molded pistons too, and they're updated mostly in the 4R70. Later 4R70, 75s. A lot of times that's when you see these updated pistons, and they work great. Like I said, the only thing that they had a problem with once they changed over to this version is just the snap ring occasionally just breaks or pops out on you, and you lose overdrive. So that's why in the kits I try to get all the common updates. Alrighty, let's get this one out here. Sorry if I keep looking at you. I'm just trying to make sure you see everything pretty well. Maybe sometimes where I have to get in your way, get things out, but still like for people to see what I'm doing. Kind of covering my hand here in case it pops out. A lot of times you can just get in here with a scribe, that or a small screwdriver. Kind of twist it out. This snap ring's a pretty good snap ring. It's a pretty tough one. Can't say that I've never seen one break, because they do occasionally, but not like any other snap ring. You just kind of get in there. Once you got the edge of it, just kind of work your way around. Pull one in a little bit. Make sure no fluid gets in your face. There's that snap ring. That won't be replaced or anything like that. It's a good snap ring. As well as this piston is usually a good setup, along with the spring. Still like it's brand new. That's why I'm really a big fan of these molded pistons when they started doing it in Chevys and also in Fords. Seems like they really did a good job when they started doing these updates like that. When I first started out with them, they weren't good, but you know, it takes time. And a lot of feedback. Or anything, these dealers or the manufacturers to get them right. This here, I just kind of tap a little bit on the output shaft and kind of pull at the same time on the stator shaft. I have to get in your way a little bit. So these are just the only thing that's really keeping them in there on this is just the O-ring over time. Of course, spreads out. The gasket underneath it likes to stick a little bit, but a lot of the times they got a spring behind it. It kind of helps you out where you don't have to get your tool out, pump tool, to get it out. Most of the time, I say. It's coming out. You can see right there. Don't want to hit it too hard. Kind of give it a little yank. And there it is. There's your pump. See how it has a spring? They make different types of springs. This is an earlier type, not the later type. Later type has a spring that goes. This works the same way no matter what type it is. A lot of them have like a big old wave behind here on the late style. This is the early style, and this has got the regular aluminum piston in it, where they updated it. Not really updated it, they just thought it would be a better idea to put a molded piston in it, and these are still good. I don't know what was their purpose of updating it. They've got all kinds of reasons and stuff, but see these, that comes in your kit too, that'll get replaced, and this is just fine. So put this over there to get cleaned up. Actually, I'll put it over here. Stack up too much stuff. Just be in your little baggie. These sealing rings get replaced. Here's a washer. Most of the time it's fine, and as you can see, it is fine. The only time, and this has already been updated to the ratcheting style, I'll show you here in a minute. Most of the time when you see that these are bad, it's a lot of times this sprag will blow out there. Actually, the snap ring will just blow out on the back of the drum, and then it'll just eat it up. So that's when you replace them. They make different sizes. This is how you set the clearances and stuff. It's one of them that you use. You can see that. Just taking your pump apart right now. 10mm bolts. Hold it on there. These over in the basket to get clean. Your pump, stator, all that. Most of the time it's fine. There's a bushing right there. Comes in the kit that'll get replaced. Pump gears, most of the time are fine too. I use the, that's why I always ask for the converter also. So that way I can get another one because they charge core fee. But I always use the converter to line up pumps no matter what I'm doing. Front seal, that'll get replaced with a new one. This here, the O-ring, that'll get replaced with a new one. All that comes in your kit. Same with this bushing. The bushing really don't look that bad, but the torque converter is just constantly riding on that. And it comes in the kit anyway, the kits that I get, so it'll get replaced. Here is your gasket. Pump gasket, it'll get replaced too, comes in the kit. Like I said, you're going to hear me say kit a lot. Most of the time you just give this a little jiggle and all that comes out. All right, here's your second gear. Clutches and steels and pressure plate. They're a little burnt, but not that bad. They'll get replaced anyway in your kit. See a lot of wear in them. I didn't see any hot spots on the steels, but I change steels anyway because they come in the kit. A lot of the times when I get kits, They only charge just a little extra just to put steels in it, so I always just get them anyway, just to, that way you got new steels. Here is your forward drum, the one that we were concerned with. And I can see these little, hopefully you can see that. See this little, looks like a little weld mark. That's what usually breaks in them. That's why I was saying it possibly could be the drum, because usually that is what happens. But I can also see right here, hopefully that shows up, the clearance is really low, or really, it's got a big old gap in the clearance on that. So I'm sure these clutches and steels are worn down quite a bit. Let's go ahead and take it out, check her out, look at it. Look at the drum a little bit better. And yes, see all the hot spots on the steels. Those will definitely get replaced. You've got a wave plate. A lot of your drums has got like a wave plate or a dish or a saucer. Those are usually fine. You can see on your clutches here, they're wore down almost to the metal and burn up. This one here has got like a little bit of the grid pattern left. It's starting to wear out on one side. That's what they're supposed to look like. Real bright yellow color when they're new. Sometimes you'll see them in a green color. Depends on green or red color, depending on the manufacturer who makes them. They're made the same way. It's just different manufacturers make them different colors. But you get usually Ray Vestos and they're yellow. So that will all get replaced. Your pressure plate, as usual, is fine. And your wave plate, these seals here will get replaced. Down in here, sometimes it eats out in the drum. It is just fine. And you've got a piston here. It's not blown out or anything. What I'll do is I'll take this piston out, just like you've seen the piston in the drum, made just like it, just on a smaller scale. It's got lip seals on it that get replaced and then put back together, air checked and everything. Here is a thrush washer, bearing, whatever you want to call it. These are usually fine. Sometimes they break. Most of the times they don't. They're really good. But that goes in between your forward drum or your input drum that we just took out and your forward hub, clutch hub. That's what your clutches ride on. Also, there's a bearing on top of that. They're all fine. So here's your band that wraps around the drum, acts like a brake, stops your drum. That's your overdrive band. Of course, it is burnt pretty much black. This is always pretty much a red color. You can see, maybe it picks it up, hopefully. It's got some cracks in it just from the heat and everything. Your bands are usually gets replaced. So set this down here. So that was another thing that I'd mentioned when you on a breakdown. I always put the most common things that go bad, and that's bands are one of them. There's another washer that's on top of your reverse drum. Check the clutches out on it. Usually, well, not usually, you always, no matter what type of transmission it is, you've got two things that comes on in reverse. You always got a drum at the front with clutches. They are burn up. They'll get replaced along with the seals. Got some little bit of hot spots on them. Go ahead and get some new ones in there. And in the back of the case, you'll always have either a band, low reverse band, or a set of clutches. But in this case, on these 4R70Ws, they always have a band. So the point is, you've always got a band, or you've always got two things that comes on in reverse. So this here is fine. There's a piston underneath that. Those take square cut O-rings that get replaced. This here is just fine. It does have some burning from the band a little bit, but it's a thick drum, and so you can sand those up a little bit, take that all away, and the new band would grab just fine. And actually, this one's the roller type. I was looking at it. What they did was just put the updated snap ring in it, which is a good snap ring. Most of the time they do that on the Sprague or the ratcheting type. And that's the sound you want to hear. So that's good. Alrighty, let's go ahead and get into the gear section. I already showed you your forward hub. Got a mid shaft here. This end goes into the direct drum at the very bottom of the case. Not the very bottom, but second to the bottom. And this goes into your forward drum too. And it splines in here, just like that. And it's fine. It's a big old hunk of steel. You hardly ever see these go bad. Sometimes you see the reverse, or not the reverse, but the sun shell go bad. This one's just fine. So use that over. Here's another bearing. Here's another. This is your output sun gear. It fits into the one and only planet that they've got in here on these. All right. Now we're going to get this snap ring out here that holds in your center support in your planet. That's the way it's supposed to look. Got tabs in it that helps keep it in place. Also, there's also a small spring right here that will get out. Once we get this out, we'll give it a little tap on the rear, and that'll come out just fine. But that kind of keeps it in place. That's your center support here. Go ahead and get it out. Then you've got a low roller clutch. Usually just fine. There you go. Heard it pop out. And that they've used for a very long time, and it works great. It's just kind of give you a cushion from going between drive and reverse. Keeps the case from cracking. And believe it or not, that little thing does a good job. They've got a newer one out that's kind of like a U that works the same way. It works great too, but sometimes people will buy these and just go back to these because these work so well. We'll put it over to the side in your basket, clean up. Here's your planet and the center support. That's what rests in the case. It's always fine. Here is your low roller. They're always fine. Same design they've had all the way back to the AODs. They never really changed this planet or anything. They did change a little bit over time, but it was such a good design Ford decided not to change it. So that is always, can't say always, I have seen them broke or bad. Usually when people towing something heavy or that they're not supposed to, or hot rodding them, like if they're in their car or whatever. This is the band. Let me show you on this band. All right. It's got some grooves in it, like it's supposed to, but it's really worn down to where you can't see the lettering or anything like that. The bands that I put in them is an updated band, and I put that on your most common things that we replace. And the updated band is thicker, and also the material that they use is a lot thicker too. Also, they changed the design in this part here because a lot of times this breaks and then you don't have reverse. So they make a thicker design in that area also. So that's an updated band that I'll be putting in there. So just go along with your other band in your basket, or your, not your basket, but your baggie. This is the direct clutch hub. This is part of the drum that I'm getting ready to pull out now. Clutch is right around it, just like on the forward drum. Just get your finger in here and just kind of get in there where the spline is. And remember this big hunk of steel I was telling you, that's what it rides into. And this is your direct drum. You've got a bearing and a shim underneath it, and that's what you use to set the clearances also. And you've got a bearing here that's always good. So we'll go ahead and get these clutches out, look at them. I'm sure they're burnt. So I can see on the clearance it's a little loose. And they are. They're burnt black. Most of the time this drum is just like this or worse. So you're going to get a new set of steels and clutches in there for this drum. Same way as the other. You got a piston right here. It's got lip seals in it and a lip seal on the shaft. And that'll get replaced too. As well as any bushings get replaced. There's bushings throughout. Come in your kit. Set that to the side. Now we're down to the last thing. Well, almost the last. There's another snap ring in here. All it does, some people throw it out. Some people put it back in. I just put it back in. It just helps line up the low reverse band, making it a little easier to put the piston in. So I just put them back in there. This is your rear ring gear. It lines up with the planetary system. You've got a shaft, a little shaft right here where the inside of the direct drum rides, and you've got sealing rings that'll get replaced also. Same way right here. This is where the oil comes through and applies that drum in the rear of the case, and you've got sealing rings for it. You got metal ones that'll get replaced. Now the last thing to check is the rear of your case. I can already feel that it's just fine. All that's fine in there. You've got one last bearing. That's it. Right here. There I was telling you about these sealing rings that get replaced. Sometimes over time they'll pop out or break, and then they'll rub some grooves into your case. In this case, it's just fine because they never did pop out or anything anyway. And You can either change the case depending on how bad it is, or they make a sleeve where I can put in there, and it saves the case. A lot of the time that works. The only time when you can't use it is when it's just worn down the case so bad, when they've all broken and the case is really bad, worn down. Then you got to change the case. But everything looks good there. Some miscellaneous stuff on the case to get replaced. This has got seals in it. This plug would be popped out. It's got seals in it. They get replaced. Just little things like that. And that's pretty much it. So pretty much everything I told you, and we're happy about the drum not being bad. It was just really, really, really worn out on the clutches and steels. So we're going to get a kit. Of course, it'll come with everything that I said and then some, and along with all your updates. Here we'll get a filter, both bands, the wiring harness, the plastic wiring harness for the valve body, and of course the torque converter will get replaced. Nothing really out of the ordinary that I've seen on this, so I'll go ahead and get the parts ordered in the morning. I'll usually have them by maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, and then get you back together and probably get you going by Friday or Saturday. And that's about it. If you have any questions at all, just shoot me a text, email, call me, whatever, if you got any questions. But that's about it. You have yourself a great day.